Hi guys, I'm working on a little project here to make just some mini notebooks, mini journals, and figured I would throw together a video on some tips for the basic 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I've heard a bunch of people recently say that they sometimes struggle with this, so I thought I would share some tips that might make it easier. This is a approximately 4x6 journal with 2 signatures. The spine is 1/2 inch. And first I'm going to mark the spine. I have this ruler that has 0 in the center. So I'm just going to approximately line that up to get 0 in the middle of my page. And I'm not really that concerned right now. I'm just getting marks in here at the different spots that I want to do holes. I don't care if those marks are in the exact spot or not. Okay, so I marked this with 3 pencil marks. And I'm going to have 2 signatures. So I am just going to approximate 1/8 of an inch from one end of the spine. Oops. Guess I'm gonna have to go on the other side so I can see my lines. Nope, I gotta go this way. So I'm just gonna bring my lines all the way over so that I can see them through the ruler. Just making 3 dots, approximately 1/8 of an inch off of the crease of the spine. And right now, I'm not worried about exact precision. I can adjust with my awl. So I'm not 1/8 of an inch off there, so I'm going to come in a little bit further and just poke my hole. So a lot of awls get fatter as you go down, so it just depends on how far you want to go down, how big you want to make your holes. I'm using cord and a large eye needle, so I need a larger hole. And I just have one of these foam pads. That's what I'm poking into. Now, if you were doing, I'll say a more formal journal, you might want, and you're doing 3 or 4 signatures, you might want to make your whole template, your template for your holes. I'm not using a template simply because this is just a small journal book and it's only 2 signatures. Okay, so now I need to get my signature holes lined up there. So I'm going to grab 1 signature. I'm going to grab the inside page and I'm going to lay it on the outside of my book here. Just need to pick 1 set of holes to approximately line this up to. So I think I'm on that back hole there, which is actually the first set. Okay, so I have that marked. Now it doesn't matter if you had marked over here, that's fine. You can still line up and get poke your hole in the crease. Okay, so I have my signature, get my papers how I want them, and here's a tip. So a lot of people talk about they'll go through the center but then come out the side. So one of the things you want to make sure about is to really press your papers into that crease. What you don't want is, see if the camera's picking that up. See how like the center paper is not pushed all the way back in there? You want to make sure these are really tightly nestled in there. And then hold them. So I'm just going to use a big paper clip. You could use a bow clip or anything. And then I'm going to make sure that the bottom is also tight in there and hold them. That's going to help you line up your holes. Then I basically just hold my signature almost completely closed. I find the dot or line up to a line, and I make sure I'm in the crease, and I basically hold it closed and just push straight down. I'm just going to do that for each one. So I'm going to line up first, and I'm going to hold it just about closed, push straight down, and then push it through. Now, some people like to use a book cradle, which is fine. The book cradle kind of spreads your papers and will lift them and increase your chances of going on an angle. So that's one of the reasons why I like to do it this way. I also don't want to take up space with a cradle. So this is my first signature. I followed this first set of holes, so that's going to go in there. And I'm going to mark the other signature as well. So, same thing. I'm just going to grab this first page to line up my holes. So now I'm lining up to this other set of holes. What I'm most concerned with when I'm doing this is that my paper is positioned top to bottom where I want it. Okay, so I did that on purpose so that you could see this. Let me make those a little bit bigger. So hopefully the camera will pick that up. So this is my center crease. And you see how I marked the holes out of that crease? That's fine. I'll still be able to see and put my awl in the crease while lining up next to the hole. So if you have any smaller pages in your book like this one, you're going to want to make sure you have it lined up where you want it before you clip everything together. So like that small one, I shifted up a little so 2 holes will grab it. Okay, so I'm properly nested in the bottom and the top. Now we're going to go through the same process. So my hole is not in the crease, but I can see it. So I'm going to go through the crease next to the hole. Next to the dot. See, I had it open a little bit and, oh no, I'm still good. Okay. So clipping your pages, your signatures together and holding them together is really important to keeping those holes lined up. It's also going to make it easier when you bind. So this is my bottom signature. I'm going to start with the top. I'm going to leave them clipped. Something to note is which way your papers were when you marked them. Even if you do all the measuring and make a template, there's a very good chance that all these holes are not perfect. And you want to make sure that wherever you mark the top hole, that you're lining that up with the top. Now, I just know that my signature was this way when I marked it. But you might want to come up with a convention like your top is always where your paper clip is on the right side, something like that. Or else just mark it. Put an arrow on your page and erase it later. Okay, so I already threaded my needle. I'm going to start from the outside. So whatever side you start on is where you're going to finish. And I'm starting on the outside to avoid this situation. So I made my knot in the middle of this, and this is just a very simple journal. It doesn't have any weight to it. So it's sitting, it's got a pretty big gator mouth because of that big knot in there. So this one, I'm going to do the knot on the outside. So I'm going to come through that outside hole. Whoops. I'm going to pull a whole bunch of thread through, approximately what I need. And if you'll notice, I have not cut off from my spool yet. When I first started pamphlet stitching, I would cut my threads and always cut them too long to make sure I didn't run out. And then I would waste, 3-4 inches. So I just leave it attached, and when I'm all done, I cut it off, and then I have less waste. Okay, so now I have my signature here. Just going to poke my hole through. And because my pages are clipped, those holes stay lined up. Now, I have a cord with a big-eyed needle, so it's hard to pull it through. So I have this high-tech needle puller. I just grip the needle and pull. And if you're wondering what this is, it's one of those shelf liners that you can put like in a kitchen cabinet. Okay, so I'm going to pull quite a bit of thread through. I'm going to go to my next hole. So I'm going to go down or up one hole, and then I'm just lining up and going out. Same thing, grab my needle puller. And now I'm going to go all the way to the top, and here's another tip. Keep your signature loose. Don't pull it in tight yet. There's no need to. This gives you room to pull through your cover, line up to your signature, get your needle through. Okay, so this is another place where people have some problems, is they end up piercing this thread, and then you try to pull your thread through and tie down, and you can't. So one of the things that I do is I just kind of pull that down. So if you notice, there's tension going that way, and then I'm going on the top side of that thread to try to stay out of that thread. I'm going to do that picking my signature up here. And because I kept my signature loose, I can reach through the back of the signature, pull my needle, and then I can go through that same hole to the outside. Okay. So I'm still not tying off yet. I'm not going to, well, I will in a second, I guess. So I have extra threads in here. You want to pull all that tight. So what I'm going to do is pull on that a little bit just to reduce how much I'm wasting. Just pulling that through. Oh, I don't know what I did there. Okay, so then I'm just going to tug those. I want to make sure I'm tight on the inside and the outside, and I don't know why I'm not tight there. So let me okay. Take the needle off, and I'm going to tie this off. You can tie in a bow. If I was doing a larger journal, I might leave quite a bit of tail on this to bead it or something. But these are just like kind of notebook journals, if you will, just pretty simple, so I'm just keeping it plain. Now I have my first signature, and I am going to clip these to the front cover. That's going to make it easier for me to do my second one. So what I do, this is cord, so it's kind of thick, and even though I have a big needle, I kind of flatten it with my finger. See how the cord's separating there a little bit? I don't know if you can see that. I kind of flatten it to push it through, and then grab the ends, and hopefully it doesn't split too much. It's okay if it splits a little. And I'm going to pull it through my needle. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to keep it loose until I'm done. It gives me more wiggle room to handle my signatures, to get everything lined up. With the pamphlet stitch, it doesn't matter whether you go to the top or the bottom first. So see how keeping that loose helps? Because if you pull everything tight, you have to have the signature hole lined up with the cover hole and push the needle through everything at once. So keeping it loose allows me to just get things lined up. I'm not pushing the needle through cover and signature at the same time. The needle puller is just great. It really speeds things up there. Okay, I need some more thread here. So I can take the needle off at this point because I'm done threading, and now I'm just pulling through whoops. So I don't know if you saw what I just did there. I have one thread on I have one of the tie threads on one side of the long thread and then the other side. And that's just, I'm just tying around that stabilizer thread there. I don't think you have to do it, but I think it helps this knot not pull through that hole. Okay, so there you have your bound book. Now, I was not precise, so you can see that this hole is off. It should have been moved in a little. For what this is, I'm not going to fret over that. So your tips were to keep your thread loose until you're ready to tie, to use your clips and make sure that your papers are nestled tight in the center before you poke holes. When you poke the holes, hold your signatures mostly closed and go straight down through. Push your awl through as far as you want to get the size of the hole you want. And if you have an awl that is a consistent diameter, I'd love for you to comment below and let me know where you got it. And that's about it. Pamphlet stitches should be easy. They shouldn't be frustrating. I hope those tips help you. If you like the video, consider giving me a thumbs up, subscribing to my channel. I hope you have a crafty day and that you stop back soon. Bye, guys.